Hello everyone, my name is Gus.
Hi, I'm Woody.
Today we'll be reacting to a tech dive at the Blue Hole in Dahab, Egypt, which is nicknamed Diver Cemetery. Now, for those of you who have watched or read about, the big mountains like Everest and K2 and Annapurna and all of those just big, 8,000ers, one of the things that you learn about is that the bodies of the alpinists, the mountaineers that died in the mountain, in a lot of cases, because it's so hard to get, it's just left there, right? And in some cases, like green boots, for example, in Everest, they become even a fixture of the mountain. They become like a place to designate where you are in the mountain. I don't think that happens as often with divers. I think that when divers die, we try our best to recover bodies. But the Blue Hole in Egypt is a very dangerous place because it gives people false confidence. And we talked about this on the video with Yuri Lipsky, which I'm going to link up here in case you haven't seen it, where Yuri was an instructor. And he wanted to do the arch. There's an arch that you can swim down to and then go through the arch and come out in the ocean. It doesn't seem as deep. It doesn't seem as long. And by the time you go that deep and you go into the arch, which is a cave basically at that point, or at least a cavern at the best, a lot of people run out of air. They've gone through their tank. There's not enough to go back. They try to go forward and they get stuck or whatever.
And I think that arch opening is at about 150.
Yeah, it's pretty deep, 180, something like that. So on top of the fact you're running out of air, you're also narked, and that makes everything worse. So a lot of people have died there. That's why it's called Diver Cemetery. And some of those bodies have not been recovered. Okay, so the video that we're going to be reacting to today, I'm sorry about the long introduction. It's from a tech dive that happened in 2014. And these guys, when they were technical divers, they are prepared for it. They have mixes and a lot of gas to go to those depths. And they run into multiple bodies as part of their dive. So we're going to see that. And I just wanted to warn people that this is not, I know that some people watch these videos, and I personally don't like those comments. I know you're going to leave them. You don't care about what I think, but I personally don't like the comments where they are like, you think that was bad? Like, you should see, the videos I've watched. Like, yeah. They want to see gore and the worst, images. I'm not a big fan of that. So if that's your comment, if all you're going to say is like, that was nothing, please, I could watch that all day, every day. Just don't bother. Just don't watch this video. Skip us. Just go watch another channel or watch another one of our videos. Just don't watch this one. What we want to show is the reality of what these divers run into, and then kind of talk about what would happen if we run into this, or if we, depending on the situation, what would we do in their place? That's basically it. So
you mean, what would we do if we were the one that died in the cave? What would we, or the wherever, what would we want done with our body? Is that what you're asking?
I think I think that that's something that we should explore, of course, and talk about. And I think that also the other side, which is, what will we do if we run into a body? Like, do we recover it? What do we do in that case? So let's start the video and see where it goes. By the way, this video had some music. I didn't think it was appropriate. It didn't really match the audio, so I just muted it. There was no dialogue. So here they are at the Blue Hole. You can see them getting ready. They have doubles in their back. They're carrying multiple tanks. They're diving with 4 tanks each. So it's a technical dive. They're going deep. What I didn't know after until I watched this video is how many caves and little swim throughs and things you can do there. So whenever we go, and we want to go here, I want to explore those areas as well.
Definitely.
So there they are, starting to hit those crevices, and that's when they start running into bodies from divers, like that one, for example.
Wow.
There's two there. I don't know if you can see.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, why haven't they been removed? That's my first question. Do you know,
So,
or
like,
does anybody know why have those bodies that don't look that difficult to remove, why haven't they been removed?
yeah, I wish I knew. They look like they've been there for a while. So this is not like, well, this was the day after the accident where 3 people died or something. That, okay, perhaps there's someone there, there's authorities, and they haven't removed them or something. They look like they've been there for a while. Now, some of these bodies, and I hate to do this, that we stopped it like on a screenshot of it. Like this one, I don't know if you see this, but it looks like the tank is wedged into 2 pieces of rock. Now, I don't think this is too hard. I feel like if you pull this way, this tank will unlatch it and you can pull it out of there. And the fact that there's kind of a line going to it, I don't know if they're like marking it, like this is where the body is. I don't know. But
do we know the depth?
We don't. Okay. I think they show it at some points and it doesn't look very deep. But the fact that they're diving with all of that tells me that they are going deep into it. And I wonder, if any of these bodies are that they like drown above and they just sank to the bottom versus the ones that were trying to get through the arch or whatever and they got caught up and stuck.
Yeah, I mean, my natural reaction would be normally I would want to recover the body for a family or a loved one. However, I got to believe that they brief you when we get there, and there must be some definitive wishes to leave it alone. I mean, many people have probably seen it. So maybe the family said, leave it. That's the wishes, or that's our wishes. We don't want you to touch the body. Right? There's no other explanation. Why else would it be left there?
Right. So that's when they ran into, just stuck on the rock.
Yeah, but he's wedged in there, though.
You can see bones. I mean, this has been around for a long time.
Yeah.
This is not a new body.
But that person is wedged into that crevice pretty deep. So it does look like they got stuck.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if I understand also the shape of it. Like, this looks like a knee, like a leg, and this is the knee bending. But the tank is here,
But
which means
sideways,
that...
like he's this way. Look. He's like this.
This is an arm. You can tell that's an arm.
Rolled over.
The head will be down here. I'm not really following the shape of it, but yeah. All right. Now, I don't really know if these guys went there looking for bodies.
I think so. That my reaction, it certainly looks deliberate.
The title of this video was Technical Dive in Dahab. It wasn't like, even on YouTube, if you click on it, although the title is in Russian, Ukrainian, etc., I'm not really sure what language it is because I just put it in Google and it translated it to Technical Dive in Dahab. They're not saying here are the bodies or we found bodies or anything. It's just this is a technical dive we did. Do we just happen to film everything? So here's another one. That's a tank that is kind of floaty. It seems. And I don't know if you can see, but yeah. Okay. Well, they went pretty close.
Been there very, very long time, it looks like.
Yeah.
No, this looks very deliberate. This is what I believe they were looking for. And
to document these dead divers, I guess. These remains.
Yeah, I got to believe.
They're very, very deep. I mean, this has to be deep. That thing looks pretty tall. And I don't know if this is the arch. Like, here's one opening, here's the other opening. Like, they're at the bottom of the arch, which is like 300 feet or something. It's pretty deep. But it seems to me that they were pretty deep. I wish they were sharing, like at least giving us glimpses of the computers, but they didn't.
I got to believe everybody that that's the wishes of the family not to disturb those bodies. Wow, there's a lot of little crevices, and some of those are pretty tight. So that's a very technical dive. You could be getting into a cave environment.
Yeah, and this looks like a swim through. And I mean, if it's not for obviously the people that have perished there and all of that, I would be watching this video and being like, this looks awesome. I wish we were there and we were doing this.
But there's line. I mean, you saw there was line. So that this is
line. This line has been there for a while. Although the line ages differently when it's at sea. In freshwater caves, the line stays there for a long time. But look at that. So you find a reel like that somebody dropped. I'm just hoping that somebody dropped it and survived and not that somebody died there. But
by the way, this looks amazing to dive, this section.
Yeah, so these are the places where I was like, okay, if we go to Blue Hole, this will be cool to explore these holes and stuff. But obviously knowing that there's people there or, bodies there that we could be running into. But I had the same question you had, which was, why aren't they bringing them up? And this is where they start doing their deco, and it's closer to the end.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was it. Yeah.
It's hard to see those bodies. It still is. Like, it's hitting me a little bit more now, a few minutes after seeing it. It just makes you wonder what happened. It doesn't look like they were in such an extreme environment. That's what's crossing my mind. Like, it doesn't look like it, but that's the danger at the same time. Yeah. That's also what is the danger of this whole area is, like you said early on, the arch doesn't look that difficult, right? It doesn't look that deep. The water vis is so good. And depth, man, if there's any problem that happens at that depth can turn serious very quickly. And a lot of people have died there.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons also why people die there is because they ignore the rule of diving that says you should dive up to your limits, right? Within your limits of training and experience. And I think that some people violate that rule, right? They're not training caverns, they go into caverns. They're not trained to go deeper than 130 feet, they go deeper than 130 feet. That's one of the rules that you get to a point where you have enough experience to think you know a lot, but you don't really know a lot.
It's a dangerous spot. Ed Sorensen talks about it a lot. It's at the 100-hour mark. Mm-hmm. It's sort of a known thing from studies. People start to think, I can't learn anymore. I know it all. I'm super experienced.
Yeah.
And they're only super experienced at never having a problem. That's the problem.
Yeah. It's really tough. And, funny that you bring Ed in because I like to ask people sometimes, like, what ifs, right? I like to bring it up. And I remember talking to Dog about this when I was going through my cave diving training. I didn't know Ed then. I just knew of him, but I didn't know him in person. So I remember going through my cave diving training with Doug Ebersol, and I asked him, Doug, if one of your family members was stuck in a cave somewhere, and you could call any diver in the world, who would it be? And he said Ed Sorensen.
Yeah.
Right? Any diver in the world. And this was after the Thai kids rescue. Like, I thought he was going to say Rick Stanton or whatever, like the guys who rescued the Thai kids, and he said Ed Sorensen.
Yeah.
Right?
Me too.
So then I brought it up with Ed. After we started diving with Ed and being trained or whatever, I said, Ed, if there's someone stuck in a cave and, who would you call? And he's like, I would do it. Like, I wouldn't call anybody. It would be me. And if I get stuck and I couldn't come out, then leave me there.
Yeah, he said that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
He said, if I got to a point where I couldn't get out, where it was so bad that even I couldn't get out, then no one should go in to get me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking about it now from my standpoint. If I perished somewhere, I don't want anybody to risk their lives to get me. So that's going to be number one.
Yeah.
But if I perished because of something else, but I'm pretty accessible, like what you saw here, because we're reacting to this video, I would want you to get my body. I know my family would want it, and there's some religious beliefs that we have in my religion that would want the body to go through a proper burial. Not at a risk of your own life, ever. That's my answer.
Yeah. I think for me it's the same. You know, if I die somewhere where somebody has to risk their life to come get me, like, don't worry about it. But if it's somewhere accessible, then they should get me out. Not so much because of religious beliefs and all of that. I think my family would like to have it, have my body. That will be important. But also because I think that it could damage the experience and the lifelong adoption and hobby from someone that goes in there and runs into dead bodies. You know, I wouldn't want someone not to be a diver because of me, because I just happened to have a heart attack when I was diving there and I died. And I don't want him to, as much as I love the water and the ocean, and if I died in the ocean and I become food for sharks, great. Like, I don't have any, you know, religious things that tie me to anything. Like, it doesn't matter. As much as I would love that, I think that the fear of becoming a fixture of a diving location and having people scared of diving because they could run into a dead body, not because it's me, because it's a dead body, that alone, I would like my body to be pulled out of there.
Yeah. And then we also know that with body recovery, sometimes they can learn things, maybe what happened. Obviously, they can learn it from the computer. So you could say, well, they can just grab that. But
that's true.
Yeah. So there's all there. You know, look, it's a very difficult subject.
Yeah.
Let's hope it doesn't happen. And
absolutely, I always love to hear people's opinion on this. Some people would say, absolutely, leave me there. Some people would say, absolutely, pull me out. I'm interested in your opinion. So I want you guys to leave a comment below with if you were to die inside a cave. And perhaps you're not a cave diver, or you're not a diver at all, but if something happened to you inside a dry cave, or if something happened to you, you know, somewhere else based on the hobby that you do. Some of you I know are climbers. You're rock climbers. Like, if you fall into a valley or something, you know, what is your stance on this? I'm just curious. And if you don't feel comfortable posting it, please don't share. But I just think that we can learn from each other this way. And that's why I wanted to show the video as well, to see the reality of what it looks like down there. And that's pretty much it. If by any chance you did not catch the video of Yuri Lipsky, who actually perished at the Blue Hole in Dahab, I'm going to leave it linked right here so you can watch it after that. But thank you so much for sticking through it with us on this one, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye, everybody.